ambi-tv is an ambilight clone based on the Raspberry Pi and a few other inexpensive components. All the software you need is on my GitHub page. You can easily build this yourself, and it will work with anything that you can connect to your TV set over HDMI. This video gives you a demonstration of the effect, even though I don't have that good of a camera equipment, just my iPhone really, and it demonstrates what my hardware setup looks like and how you can pretty easily build this yourself. There's also textual documentation on the GitHub site. So the first thing you need is an HDMI splitter, which takes one input and distributes it to two outputs. You can get this inexpensively on Amazon or eBay. If you use an HDMI switch, or like in my case an HDMI AV receiver in front of this splitter, you can use all your devices with ambi-tv without ever needing to switch any cables around. You'll also need an HDMI to composite adapter like this one, which you can also get from eBay or Amazon again. This one will connect to the HDMI splitter on one end, the other end goes to your TV, and the composite signal will be fed into the Raspberry Pi. This way the Raspberry Pi sees the same video source that you also see on your TV screen, no matter what video source you're currently using. You will also need one of these cheap USB video digitizers to actually feed the composite signal into the Raspberry Pi. It's a bit tricky to get this to work, so I suggest you check out my GitHub documentation to see what exactly I'm using and how I got this to work. On the Raspberry Pi side of things, I just cut up a USB mini cable and soldered a 5-volt plug to it. Then I forked off another power cable from there to power the RGB LED light strips. This way I only need one wall wart to power the whole thing. I also added a switch between pin 5 and 6 on the Raspberry Pi's header because I used this in ambi-tv to turn on and off the effect and to switch between different settings. The RGB LED strip will be controlled by the Raspberry Pi's SPI output, and of course the video digitizer will go into a USB port. I also added some heat sinks to the Raspberry Pi because I needed to overclock it in order to get enough USB bandwidth to actually handle the live video stream. For whatever reason, maybe this will be better in a future version of the kernel. The RGB LED strip I'm using is based on the LPD8806 chipset, such as sold by Adafruit, as well as some other sources. I simply used a double-sided adhesive tape to affix it to my TV set. You've got everything connected, you should simply build the ambi-tv software and try it out. Hopefully it just works out of the box. There are a lot of configuration options, so I suggest to look at the GitHub documentation again. It's also very easy to extend ambi-tv with your own effects, such as this mood light that you can use when you're not actually watching TV. The rest of the video will be just some demonstrations of the effect. And even though I don't have the best camera equipment, I suppose you can still get the overall idea. I hope you enjoy it, and maybe you're even building ambi-tv yourself.